Crouching Lion is one of our favorite short hikes on Oahu. For a short half-mile round-trip trail, not only does this hike offer spectacular views of Kahana Bay, but it also has an exciting ridgeline section for those of us who crave that little bit of adrenaline. That being said, Crouching Lion is rated intermediate on the difficulty scale, but by Hawaiian standards, it might be a little bit more on the easy side. That easy rating may go away if you do the entire Puʻu Manamana trail, but as far as this one's concerned, as long as you have good balance, some grippy shoes, and a tiny bit of climbing experience, you should be just fine. Almost the second you set foot on the trail, you are going to be starting your climb, and you're going to be gaining 216 feet of elevation in just under 0.2 of a mile. If you are on the taller side, one of the biggest challenges of this trail is going to be navigating around and under some of the low-hanging trees. While I'm not super tall, I did end up banging my head on a couple of them over the course of the hike. As we clawed our way up the slightly muddy hillside, we started to get small gaps in the trees, giving us great views of Kahana Bay. Just know that these views will get better the higher that you get, but it's a nice excuse to stop and catch your breath every once in a while. Up towards the top, there are a couple of ropes to help you, but we always recommend not putting 100% of your body weight into them because we don't know how long they've been out there baking in the sun. The last thing we want to see is someone have a rope break on them and take the express ride back to the car. Even though this hike is super short, this climb is going to take you a little bit. And we were about 20 to 25 minutes into it before we saw the top. Once you reach the top of the climb, you have a decision to make, or you can do both like we did. Going left will take you to the main viewpoint of the Crouching Lion Trail. Going right, like we're doing right here, will take you to a higher viewpoint, and the trail will continue on to the Puʻu Manamana Trail if you're looking for a real challenge. Either way, you're going to have more climbing to do, but I think that going right does have a bit more of a climb to it. The good thing about going to the right is that even though there are sharp drop-offs on both sides of the trail, it seems like there are a lot of areas that have little walls to protect you. This might be a little bit more comforting for anyone with a fear of heights. While we were up there, the rain started coming down again, and we decided that if we were going to go to the main viewpoint, we better get there quick. If you're planning on doing this hike and can at all avoid doing it in rainy weather, I would highly recommend it. The down climbs on this short trail are tricky enough when they're dry, but when you add a little bit of water to it, things up here can get really slippery really quickly. We are now past the intersection and on our way to the main viewpoint. And the awesome thing is that On brought his 𝐻𝐿𝐷𝐿 drone to get some really cool aerial shots. You may remember that I mentioned that climbing skills would be helpful a little bit earlier. And right towards the end of this trail is where that will come into play. It's not mandatory, but it will make your life a little bit easier. On and V's cousin Yui was joining us on this trip. He's not a climber, but he made it up to the top without any issues. The final climb up to the top feels just a little bit on the spicy side. It's definitely nothing compared to 3 peaks, which you can see by clicking in the upper corner, but it's just enough to get your heart pumping a little bit. But once you reach the top, you're going to get to enjoy views like this. If you like to plan ahead, this would obviously be a pretty spectacular spot to stop for lunch. From up here, you'll have 360-degree views that stretch out to Huilua Pond, Kahana Bay, and the town of Ka'ava on the left. The only bummer about when we were visiting is that there was a little bit of a haze that cut down the visibility just a little bit, but it was still absolutely gorgeous up here. After savoring the scenery for just a couple more minutes, it was time to start on our way back down. This is definitely one of the more exciting portions of this hike. If you're watching this video and thinking, this looks way too sketchy for me, there's nothing wrong with that. We have other videos on the channel of more mellow hikes like Kahana Point. You can see that one by clicking in the upper corner. And if hiking in general doesn't sound like something you want to do on your Hawaiian vacation, you can always check out our video about the top 10 free things to do on the North Shore. At this point in the hike, we had come back to the junction and it was time to go down that steep hill. Luckily for us, even though it had been raining off and on, we didn't encounter too much mud on our way back down to the car. One last thing that we would like to say about hiking in Hawaii or just visiting the islands in general is to please clean up after yourself, and heck, even clean up others' trash if you find it along the trail. The beauty of these islands is unmatched, and it's all of our jobs to make sure that they stay that way. In our opinions, the Crouching Lion Trail is a blast. And since it should only take you about an hour to complete, it'll give you plenty of time to take on more adventures and to maximize your day. We want to hear from you. What are your favorite hikes on Oahu? Feel free to let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this adventure, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because it really helps out the channel. Stay tuned for next week when we take on the Puʻu Manamana Trail. And for more information about awesome adventures that you can have on the beautiful island of Oahu, head on over to livethatadventure.com.